The 7 Valkyrie ships appeared without warning, massive obsidian structures that blotted out the sun as they positioned themselves over major cities. Humanity held its collective breath. First contact, at last. Dr. Elena Reyes watched from the observation deck of the Amazon Research Station as the smallest of these vessels, still the size of a cruise ship, descended toward their facility. As the military survival specialist assigned to the International Science Team, she had prepared for emergencies, but not for this. "They're coming here." "Why here?" Dr. Yamato whispered beside her, clutching his tablet. Elena's hand instinctively moved to the combat knife at her hip. "I don't know, but I don't like it." The alien craft hovered 50 meters above the landing pad. A section of its hull dissolved like black smoke, and they descended, 9-foot reptilian beings with iridescent scales and ceremonial armor adorned with bones and teeth from creatures Elena couldn't identify. The lead alien, bearing a distinctive scar across his snout, observed the humans who had gathered. His vertical pupils narrowed as he surveyed the crowd, then locked onto Elena. She felt the predatory assessment in his gaze and straightened her spine in defiance. "Your species shows promise." The alien's voice boomed through some unseen translator. "I am Hunt Master Kazak. You have been chosen to participate in the Great Hunt. It is an honor few receive." Before anyone could respond, pale energy nets erupted from devices on the alien's wrists. Scientists fell like flies. Elena drew her knife and slashed through the first net, diving behind a concrete barrier. "Run," she shouted to the others, but most stood frozen in shock. The scared leader, Kazak, tracked her movements with what seemed like amusement. When she hurled a canister of compressed gas at his feet and shot it with her sidearm, creating an explosion of flame, his mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. "This one has spirit," he said, before personally firing the net that finally brought her down. Elena awoke inside a transparent drop pod, hurtling through space. Her head throbbed where they'd sedated her. Through the glass, she could see a massive artificial moon growing larger, its surface a patchwork of different environments. Thousands of similar pods streaked alongside hers, each containing a terrified human face. The pod entered the atmosphere with a violent shake. Elena braced herself as best she could against the restraints. The crimson forest below rushed up to meet her. And then came the impact. Pain greeted her return to consciousness. Elena dragged herself from the shattered pod, tasting blood. The air felt heavy, slightly too rich in oxygen. Twilight bathed the alien forest in purple hues as unfamiliar stars emerged overhead. "Hello," a trembling voice called from nearby. "Is anyone there?" Elena found 7 others who had crashed in the same area. Wei, a college athlete. Sophia, a trauma surgeon. Jackson, a construction worker. Amar, a physics teacher. Lena, a chef. Zoe, a teenage prodigy. And Richard, a corporate executive whose expensive suit was already torn and stained. "Where are we? What's happening?" Richard demanded, his voice rising with panic. Before Elena could answer, strange bioluminescent plants began to glow around them, casting an eerie blue light through the forest. Near the pods, they discovered a cache of primitive tools, spears, knives, and water skins, left deliberately. Then came the sound that would haunt their nightmares, hunting horns and clicking vocalizations growing closer. "We need to move. Now," Elena whispered. But Richard was already backing away, shaking his head. "This can't be happening. I'm the CFO off." The ceremonial spear took him through the chest, pinning him to a tree trunk. He didn't even have time to scream. From the shadows stepped a Valkyrie hunter, mandibles spread in what might have been satisfaction. The others watched in horror as the alien methodically extracted 3 of Richard's teeth, adding them to a necklace of human trophies. The hunt had begun. 3 weeks had passed since Richard's death. Elena crouched on a ridge overlooking a watering hole, counting the days and notches on her makeshift spear. 17 survivors now followed her leadership, their camp hidden within the hollow trunk of a massive fallen tree they called Haven. The Crimson Forest had tried to kill them nearly as often as the Fricari. Poisonous fruits, flesh-eating insects, and predatory plant life had claimed 2 lives already. But humans learned quickly. Movement at the water, Y whispered, her athletic frame now lean and muscled from constant vigilance. Below, a Fricari hunting party of 3 moved with ceremonial precision, examining tracks in the mud. Their bone and tooth necklaces rattled as they conferred. Then, as was their custom, they raised their horns and blew, announcing the hunt had begun. They always announced themselves, Alina said. Pride before practicality. Honor-bound idiots, Amar added, adjusting the spectacles he'd miraculously managed to keep intact. Back at Haven, Alina gathered the survivors. They'd developed a strict hierarchy out of necessity. Everyone had duties based on their pre-abduction skills. Sophia tended wounds. Jackson reinforced defenses. Amar analyzed Fricari technology from scavenged pieces. Lena identified edible flora. And Zoe, the teenage prodigy, had become their memory bank, recording everything they learned about their captors. The hunters are moving north, Elena announced. They'll find our old camp by nightfall. And the decoys? Jackson asked, his construction workers' hands now callous from crafting traps. In place. They've swallowed the bait. Elena unfolded a crude map made from tree bark. 3 weeks watching them. And we know their patterns. They hunt in 3s. They use mostly melee weapons. They value the sport of it. Her voice turned cold. Their honor makes them predictable. That night, the plan unfolded. The Fricari followed the false trail Elena had left, leading them to the ravine where Jackson had spent days preparing the trap. The narrow passage forced the hunters to proceed single file. Wei and Amar triggered the first deadfall, tons of rock and timber crashing down onto the lead hunter, crushing him instantly. The second hunter charged forward in rage, abandoning caution, exactly as Elena had predicted. The collapsible ground beneath his feet gave way to sharpened stakes below. The third hunter, more cautious, tried to retreat, but Elena's group had circled behind. With coordinated precision, they attacked with salvaged tools and desperation on their side. It was over in minutes. Kill it, we demanded, standing over the wounded Fricari. Its yellow eyes blinked rapidly, 2 of its 4 arms broken. Not yet, Elena countered, kneeling before the alien. The group watched in silence as she questioned the hunter, using gestures and the few Fricari words they'd learned. The hunter's responses were filled with contempt, but Elena parsed crucial information. The moon's hunting grounds were segmented by environment. Other human groups survived elsewhere. The Fricari rest cycle occurred during what they measured as the 3rd quarter of their day. When she finished, debate erupted over the hunter's fate. We can't keep it prisoner, Sophia argued. We barely have resources for ourselves. And we can't trust it, Jackson added. Zoe, quiet until now, stepped forward. In their culture, being captured is the ultimate dishonor. Elena nodded slowly, a decision forming. She unsheathed her knife, crafted from a shard of her drop pod, and approached the Fricari. With deliberate movements, she carved out one of its 4 eyes. The alien's scream echoed through the forest. Elena fashioned the eye into a crude pendant and placed it around her neck, mirroring the Fricari's own trophy ritual. Then, to everyone's shock, she cut the hunter's bonds. Go, she told the maimed alien. Tell them what happened here. As the hunter limped away, Lena approached Elena. What did you just do? Elena watched the Fricari disappear into the crimson forest. I sent a message. We're not prey anymore. Captain Michael Ortiz emerged from the desert region 2 months after the abductions began. His skin was burnt and peeling, but his eyes remained sharp. The Fricari had dropped him into the harshest environment on their artificial moon, yet here he stood, leading 15 survivors across the border into Elena's forest territory. Their first meeting was tense, weapons drawn on both sides until recognition dawned. Captain Ortiz. 7th Special Forces. Elena lowered her spear slightly. Michael's cracked lips formed a smile. Dr. Reyes. Survival course instructor at Fort Benning. Small universe. He noted the Vrikari eye hanging from her neck. She registered the alien jawbone affixed to his makeshift staff. We have much to discuss, he said. The combined group, now 34 strong, gathered in an expanded haven. Michael's desert survivors brought new skills. A hydrologist who could find water anywhere, a botanist who'd cataloged alien plant properties, and most valuably, Diaz, a linguist who'd begun deciphering the Vrikari language from observation. Michael unrolled a hide map marked with Vrikari patrol routes. They're creatures of habit, same paths, same times, same hunting techniques. Arrogance, Elena agreed. They don't adapt because they've never needed to. But we do, Michael continued. It's what humans excel at. He pointed to his emaciated but muscled frame. In the desert, we discovered something crucial. We can outrun them. Murmurs spread through the gathered survivors. Not in sprints, Michael clarified. They're faster in bursts. But humans evolved as persistence hunters. We can maintain pace for hours while they overeat. They've never developed endurance because their traditional hunting style never required it. Elena's eyes gleamed. So we don't just flee or hide. We draw them into long pursuits, Michael finished, where we have the advantage. The Overseer, a massive Vrikari with ceremonial scarification covering his scales, slammed his fist into the command console. 3 more hunting parties had vanished in the forest region. The maimed hunter who'd returned weeks ago gibbered about humans who fought back, who took trophies of their own. Impossible, the Overseer hissed. They are prey, nothing more. His second-in-command approached cautiously. Huntmaster, the creatures show unusual adaptation rates. Perhaps we should suspend operations in. No, the Overseer's tail lashed violently. Double the hunting parties. Full weaponry authorized. I want trophies, not excuses. Elena's scouting team returned with urgent news and salvaged Vrikari equipment. They're changing tactics, Way reported, dropping a Vrikari energy spear before the Leadership Council. More hunters, heavier weapons. They're abandoning some of their hunting codes. Sophia examined a captured wrist device. Their technology is incredible, but designed for their physiology. That's another advantage, Michael observed. Our smaller hands can modify their tech in ways they never intended. Amar, who had been studying the device, looked up with excitement. Their thermal vision can't distinguish us from background heat if we cover ourselves with mud from the blue pools. Zoe, now 13 but with eyes far older, added, and they can't track us through water. They avoid it whenever possible. Elena stood, decision made. Next time they hunt us, we'll be ready. We'll lead them on a chase they can't win, through terrain they hate, wearing camouflage they can't see through. She touched the alien eye at her throat. Then we take more trophies. A low chant started among the survivors, growing louder with each repetition. We hunt them back. 6 months after the abductions, the human resistance had become unrecognizable from the terrified survivors who first crashed in the hunting preserves. 53 humans now operated as a cohesive unit from multiple hidden camps across the forest region. They wore armor cobbled together from salvaged Vrikari components, carried modified alien weapons, and moved through the crimson forest like ghosts. But today, they would step from the shadows. Intelligence confirms the outpost has 8 hunters. Michael briefed the strike team of 12. They'll be in their rest cycle, what they call the sacred sleep. Attacking during rest is forbidden in their culture, Diaz added, her linguistic knowledge now extending to Vrikari religious practices. It's considered the ultimate dishonor. Elena nodded, her face painted with blue mud that masked her thermal signature. That's exactly why we're doing it. The Vrikari outpost sat in a clearing, a semi-permanent structure of bone and metal where hunting parties cycled through rest periods. The humans approached from downwind, having learned the aliens possessed keen olfactory senses. 3 sentries patrolled the perimeter, fewer than usual due to the sacred nature of the sleep cycle. The sacred sleep was when Frakari believed their ancestors judged their hunting prowess, a vulnerable meditation during which no honorable hunter would attack another. Humans had no such constraints. Wei and 2 others dispatched the sentries silently, using cloth soaked in paralytic sap from the floor Alina had identified. Within minutes, the guards lay immobilized but conscious, able to witness what came next. Inside the outpost, 7 hunters lay in ceremonial poses, mandibles clicking softly as they communed with ancestral spirits. They never heard the humans enter. They barely registered the sudden sting of poisoned darts. Alina walked among the paralyzed hunters, meeting their blinking eyes. She wanted them to see her, to understand who hunted them now. The humans systematically disarmed the Frakari, took their communication devices, and planted explosive packages fashioned from repurposed Frakari technology. When they finished, Alina approached the lead hunter, a veteran with multiple human teeth adorning his armor. "One of you will live," she announced in the Frakari tongue, Daya's coaching her pronunciation, to tell the others what happened here. The humans retreated to a safe distance before detonating the explosives. The blast echoed through the forest like thunder. "The survivor has reached their central compound," reported Sophia, monitoring a tracking device they'd planted on the chosen messenger. In Haven's command tent, once a primitive shelter, now a sophisticated operations center, Alina and Michael reviewed the mission's outcome. 7 hunters eliminated, Michael noted, no human casualties, and a message delivered that will shake them to their core. Alina fingered the new additions to her necklace, Frakari claws taken from their victims. Around the camp, other humans had begun adorning themselves with similar trophies. Some painted their faces with Frakari blood, the blue liquid serving as both symbolic war paint and practical thermal camouflage. "What's our next target?" asked Jackson, clinging the energy spear he claimed. Before Alina could answer, Zoe burst into the tent, her teenage face tight with urgency. "They found the western camp," she gasped. It was a massacre, mostly children and elderly. The leadership team fell silent. Though they'd had victories, this brutal reminder of Frakari power sobered them. "No more defensive posture," Alina finally said, her voice ice. "No more reactive measures. From now on, we hunt them. Constantly, mercilessly. We become the thing they fear most." Michael nodded, understanding. "The prey has become the predator." "No," Alina corrected, her eyes cold. "We become something they've never encountered. Something worse than predators." "What's worse than a predator?" Wei asked. Alina smiled without warmth. "Humans." The Frakari hunter stumbled through the crimson underbrush, blood seeping from a wound in his side. For 3 days, he had evaded the human hunting party trailing him. 3 days without rest, without communication. His companions were already dead, taken by silent darts or clever traps. Something moved ahead. The hunter raised his energy spear, mandibles clicking in agitation. A circular section of ground slid open. The hunter stumbled back, but small gray hands reached up, pulling him below before the human predators could spot him. The circular hatch sealed silently behind them. They just disappeared. Alina examined the ground where the tracking signal had vanished. Wei nodded, her face streaked with blue mud. "Trail ends here." No trace. Michael knelt, running his fingers over the forest floor. "There's something beneath us. A hidden entrance, maybe. Another level to the hunting grounds." Amar suggested. Alina's eyes narrowed. "Or something the Frakari don't want their prey to find." It took 3 days of methodical searching before Zoe discovered the mechanism, a pressure plate disguised as a stone, activated only by weight exceeding human mass. "Designed to keep us out," Michael observed, "which means something valuable lies below." Using salvaged Frakari armor to trigger the plate, they revealed the circular hatch. Weapons ready, Alina led the descent into darkness. The tunnel below was smooth and artificial, nothing like the naturalistic hunting grounds above. It stretched in both directions, illuminated by strips of bioluminescent material. The air smelled of machinery and unfamiliar spices. Maintenance tunnels, we suggested. Or a separate habitat, Elena replied. They hadn't gone 50 meters when they encountered them. Small gray bipeds with large, luminous eyes. Unlike the Verkari, they wore simple utilitarian clothing with numerous pockets. Where Verkari moved with predatory grace, these creatures scurried nervously. One stepped forward, trembling visibly. "You hunt tall death." Its voice was high and chittering, but the words were recognizable. Tall death. The Verkari. Elena lowered her weapon slightly. Yes. The creature's eyes widened. Never before. Prey becomes hunter. Impossible. We're human, Michael said simply. Impossible is what we do. The gray beings called themselves the Kirin. Enslaved centuries ago, they maintained the vast hunting vessel that the Verkari had disguised as a moon. From them, the humans learned crucial information. Ship, not moon, explained Hick, their apparent leader, in broken speech. Move between stars. Hunt many worlds. How many other species are being hunted here? Elena asked. Tick's digits fluttered in what might have been their version of counting. 6 current, hundreds before, some extinct now. The revelation sent a chill through the human leadership. Genocide as sport. Can we contact these other species? Michael pressed. Tick nodded enthusiastically. Others resist too. Not like humans. Not hunt back, but survive. And where do the Verkari control this vessel from? Elena focused on the crude map Tick had drawn. The Kirin pointed to a central hub far from their current position. Overseer there. Core systems, engine heart. Zoe, who had been studying the alien technology lining the tunnel, looked up. If this is really a ship, we could take control of it. Or destroy it, we suggested darkly. Elena exchanged a look with Michael, a plan forming between them. First, we need to capture someone who knows the central systems. Someone valuable. Tick's large eyes blinked rapidly. Hunt school soon. Young nobles learn tradition. Young nobles. Elena leaned forward. Tell us more. Future leaders. Overseer's bloodline. First hunt coming. Tick's mouth formed what might have been a smile. Soft. Unprepared. Not expect prey that hunts back. Elena's hand went to the Verkari claws around her neck. Perfect. We should use this ship to get home. Michael's voice echoed through Haven's command tent. We have the knowledge now. The Kirin can guide us to the control systems. Elena shook her head, Verkari trophies rattling at her neck, and leave the Verkari to continue hunting, to find more worlds, more species to exterminate. The Leadership Council watched the argument unfold. After 3 days of debate, the divide had only grown deeper. Our duty is to our people first, Michael insisted. Get back to Earth, warn humanity, return with proper military force. By then it could be too late for the others being hunted here, Elena countered. We have the advantage now. They don't expect resistance. We may never get this chance again. Way sided with Elena, Jackson with Michael. The council remained split. Finally, Michael stormed out. I won't sacrifice more humans for aliens we just met. Elena watched him go, expression unreadable. Only when he was out of earshot did she turn to Zoe and whisper, Make sure everyone sees us arguing tomorrow. Publicly. The overseer reviewed the surveillance footage with growing interest. The human resistance had fractured, 2 clear factions forming around the military leaders. The smaller one seeks escape, his intelligence officer reported. The female wants vengeance. Typical prey behavior. The overseer clicked his mandibles in satisfaction. Division before extinction. We could exploit this, the officer suggested. Offer one group safe passage in exchange for betraying the other. The overseer contemplated the strategy. Arrange contact with the male's faction. Promise them access to an evacuation vessel. All they must do is lead us to the female stronghold. Is escape actually possible for them? The officer inquired. The overseer's eyes narrowed with cruel amusement. Of course not. But Prey will believe anything when desperate. Captain Michael Ortiz stood at the designated meeting point, flanked by 20 followers bearing white flags fashioned from Haven's medical supplies. Their weapons were visibly holstered, a show of peaceful intention. A Vrikari delegation emerged from the tree line, led by a heavily adorned officer. You seek escape, the Vrikari stated without preamble. We can provide it. At what cost? Michael asked, his posture submissive but eyes alert. The location of the one who wears our eyes as trophies, the female leader. Michael made a show of internal struggle. And my people go free. All of them. A scout vessel stands ready. Coordinates to your world already programmed. I need time to convince more to join our side, Michael said cautiously. The Vrikari nodded. 3 cycles. Then you bring us to her. Deep in the Kirin tunnels, Alina received Michael's report with grim satisfaction. They took the bait, she confirmed to her assembled strike team. Michael's defection looks convincing. The Vrikari believe humans are like other prey species. Diaz added. They cannot conceive of such elaborate deception. Alina unfolded a detailed map of the central hub, provided by their Kirin allies. While Michael keeps them distracted with negotiations, we infiltrate through these maintenance shafts. What's our primary objective? Wei asked, checking her modified energy weapon. The environmental control systems. Alina replied. According to Tick, they're designed to maintain optimal conditions for Vrikari physiology across all habitats. Amar's eyes widened in understanding. We're going to change the playfield itself. Alina nodded. The hunters designed this vessel for their comfort. We're going to make it comfortable for us instead. And hostile for them, Zoe added quietly. Exactly, Alina confirmed. While they're busy trying to outthink us as tacticians, we'll change the rules of engagement entirely. She looked around at the faces of her team. Once ordinary humans, now hardened guerrilla fighters. The Vrikari think they're setting a trap for prey, she said. They're about to learn they're dealing with predators. Tick led Alina's team through narrow maintenance shafts, never meant for human passage. The Kirin moved with practiced efficiency, their small gray bodies perfectly suited to these confined spaces. After hours of crawling, they reached a ventilation hub overlooking the central environmental control room. Control Nexus, Tick whispered, pointing to a circular chamber below. Heart of Shipmoon. Alina surveyed the room through a small fissure. 3 Vrikari technicians monitored crystalline consoles, their attention focused on data streams. Guards? She asked. Minimal, Tick replied. Never expect attack here. Sacred territory. Alina smiled thinly. Sacred is about to become strategic. The overseer stood before the assembled hunting clans, his ceremonial armor gleaming under artificial light. The human resistance fractures, he announced. Their male leader trades the female's location for safe passage home. Approving clicks echoed through the chamber. Prepare final hunts, the overseer continued. Soon this troublesome species will adorn our halls as trophies, and the natural order will be restored. A young noble raised his hand respectfully. Elder, is it wise to trust Prey's word? Prey behaves predictably, the overseer dismissed. They always choose survival over honor. Meanwhile, Michael's defection talks continued in a neutral clearing. His team had grown to 30, all maintaining the illusion of seeking escape. Vrikari negotiators, believing themselves in control, grew increasingly comfortable. Your female leader hides here. A Vrikari commander pointed to a map section. Close, Michael hedged. But we need assurances. Show us this scout vessel you promised. In time, the commander replied. First, the location. Michael checked his timepiece subtly. Alina's team would be in position now. Perhaps we could compromise, he suggested, deliberately extending the negotiations. A small scouting party to verify the ship exists, while the rest of us prepare to guide you to her camp." The Vrikari conferred among themselves, mandibles clicking rapidly. "Acceptable." The commander finally agreed. "Select 3 for verification." Michael nodded, secretly activating the transmitter hidden in his palm. The signal was clear. Phase 2 initiated. Elena's assault on the control room was swift and silent. Paralytic darts took down the technicians before they could sound alarms. Amar and Zoe immediately began working with the Kirin to decipher the environmental systems. "Remarkable design," Amar muttered. "These crystals encode atmospheric composition, temperature, gravity, everything that makes the habitat suitable for Vrikari physiology." "Can we alter it?" Elena asked. Zoe nodded, her teenage fingers already manipulating the alien interface with surprising proficiency. "The Kirin maintenance codes give us full access." "Then let's rewrite the comfort parameters," Elena ordered. "Increase oxygen levels 15%. Raise humidity to 80%. Increase temperature by 7 degrees. This will make all hunting grounds like Earth's tropical regions," Wei observed. "Exactly," Elena confirmed. "Perfect for human endurance, debilitating for Vrikari cold-blooded systems." As the changes initiated, amber warning symbols flashed across the consoles. "How long until they realize what's happening?" Elena asked. Tick's large eyes blinked nervously. "System changes gradual. 1 full cycle before critical alert." "Good. Now for Phase 3. Elena activated her communicator. "All teams, begin Operation Exodus. Evacuate all habitats through Kirin tunnels. Converge at Rendezvous Point Delta." She turned to Wei. "And the escape vessels?" "Lockdown," Wei confirmed. Michael's team disabled the launch protocols during their inspection. "The Vrikari are as trapped here as we were." Elena smiled coldly, fingering the trophies at her neck. "The hunt has been reversed." 1 year later, the massive vessel once known as the Vrikari Hunting Moon drifted in deep space, its exterior now marked with human symbols alongside those of 5 other species. Inside, the crimson forest where Elena had first awakened as prey had been transformed into a diplomatic center, with representatives from former hunting grounds gathered around a circular table fashioned from Vrikari ceremonial armor. Elena, her face bearing scars of battles won, addressed the assembly. The Vrikari eye still hung at her throat. A reminder, not a trophy. "The Coalition fleet reports 3 more hunting vessels secured," she announced. "Thousands of captives freed." Tick, now official representative of the Kirin, bobbed excitedly. "Home planet negotiations proceed. Worker clans rise against hunter dominance. And the resistance movement grows on every Vrikari outpost," added Zentar, a methane-breathing representative whose crystalline species had nearly been hunted to extinction. Elena nodded, satisfaction evident in her eyes. "What they started as sport, we end as revolution." In the former overseer's quarters, now repurposed as the command center, Michael studied tactical displays showing Vrikari territory across this sector of the galaxy. "Earth vessels approaching," reported Jackson, now communications director. "ETA 6 hours. Michael smiled. The stolen scout ship he'd piloted home 3 months ago had successfully delivered their message. Humanity had rallied immediately, sending a joint military diplomatic mission to assist their transformed kin. "How's our guest?" Michael asked. "Still resistant to conversation," Jackson replied, "but watching." In a secured chamber, the former overseer sat in dignified captivity. His once impressive frame had withered in the human-optimized environment. His remaining eye fixed on the young Vrikari noble who entered, one of the few who had accepted the new reality. "You dishonor our species by collaborating," the overseer hissed. The young Vrikari, Tazarin, had been among the hunt school students captured during the human uprising. Under Elena's direct supervision, he had learned a different path. "I preserve our future," Tazarin replied calmly. "The humans offer coexistence where we offered only extermination. They are prey, The overseer insisted. Tazrin's mandibles clicked in what had become his version of a human headshake. That illusion died with your regime. They hunt better, adapt faster, and most surprisingly, show mercy we never considered. Weakness, spat the overseer. Strength, corrected Tazrin. They could have exterminated us as we did countless species. Instead, they offer partnership. He placed a data crystal before his former leader. Their coalition charter. Study it. Evolution demands adaptation or extinction. Elena stood at the observation deck, watching distant stars. We joined her, both women now bearing the confident posture of leaders rather than survivors. Earth ships incoming, Wei reported. They'll expect us to return home. Some will, Elena acknowledged. But not all. You're staying, Wei stated, unsurprised. Elena nodded, hand unconsciously touching the alien eye at her throat. What happened here changed us. We're not just humans anymore. We're something the galaxy has never seen before. Through the viewport, they could see the reconfigured hunting vessels now converted to rescue ships, departing to free more captive species across Vakari space. We were their perfect prey, Wei mused, until we became the apex predator. Not predator, Elena corrected gently. Protector. She turned as Tazrin approached, now wearing the insignia of the coalition rather than hunting trophies. The first Vakari ambassador is ready to address Earth's representatives, he announced. Elena smiled. Tell them humanity accepts their surrender and offers our hand in return. As they walked together, human and Vakari side by side, the final transformation was complete. From hunted to hunters to something greater, architects of a new galactic order where no species would be prey again.